Have you ever walked into a room and instantly noticed a woman, not because she was the youngest or the most beautiful by traditional standards, but because there was just something about her? Something magnetic. She didn't need to speak loudly, dress provocatively, or fight for attention. Yet somehow, all eyes were drawn to her, especially the men. What makes her so different? It's not luck, it's not genetics, and it's definitely not about chasing beauty standards. In fact, many of the most captivating women aren't what society would label perfect. They may have a few wrinkles, gray strands of hair, or soft lines that speak of wisdom and experience, but they walk with quiet power. They smile with ease, and they carry an invisible energy that speaks before they say a word. That's what true magnetism is. It's not the makeup on your face or the clothes on your back. It's the presence you bring, the calm confidence you carry, and the subtle way you invite curiosity without ever trying too hard. And here's the good news. This kind of power isn't reserved for a chosen few. It's something any woman can learn, any woman can cultivate. And once you master it, everything begins to shift. You'll notice how conversations change, how people start treating you differently, how opportunities seem to appear without you even asking. Because true attraction has little to do with appearance. It's about energy. It's about behavior. And it's about knowing your worth without needing to prove it. In this video, we're going to explore 6 powerful behaviors that make a woman quietly irresistible. And by the time we reach the final one, you'll understand a secret that most women never discover in their lifetime. Let's begin. Let's begin where most women never think to start, by becoming whole on your own. If there's one quality that instantly sets a woman apart, it's her independence. Not the kind that's loud or defensive, but the kind that says, I have a life I love, with or without you. This kind of woman doesn't wait by the phone. She's not checking for texts, likes, or validation. She's building something, living something, becoming someone. And that energy? It's irresistible. Men can feel when a woman isn't looking for a savior. They're drawn to the mystery of a life already full. Not because she needs them, but because she doesn't. And that's the shift. When you have your own ambitions, passions, and daily joys, you stop chasing and start attracting. Suddenly, you're not orbiting around a relationship. You're the sun, and everything else falls into place around you. So how can you embody this magnetic independence? Start by reconnecting with yourself. What makes you feel excited, alive, and powerful, outside of love or romance? Is it a creative project? A business dream? Travel? Go after it. Surround yourself with people who lift your energy instead of draining it. Avoid those who keep you small or stuck in old stories. Your inner circle shapes your vibration, and that vibration is what the world responds to. And finally, never stop evolving. A woman who's always learning, growing, exploring, she's unstoppable. She's unforgettable. Because here's the truth. A woman with her own life is not a woman you can forget. And the best part, once you master this, you get to decide who deserves a place in your world, not the other way around. Now imagine combining this powerful independence with the ability to connect deeply, speak with intrigue, and leave an impression that lingers long after the conversation ends. Let's move on to behavior number 5, a quiet superpower that only the most captivating women know how to wield. Some women speak and people listen, not because they're the loudest, not because they know the most, but because every word they say feels intentional. That's the art of captivating conversation. And when a woman knows how to speak with presence, she becomes unforgettable, not for what she says, but for how she makes others feel. Contrary to popular belief, being a great conversationalist isn't about talking more. It's about talking with purpose. And just as importantly, it's about knowing when to pause, when to listen, and when to leave something unsaid. The most magnetic women aren't the ones who dominate the room with their stories. They're the ones who create space for mystery. They speak just enough to spark curiosity, and then they let the silence do the rest. You see, seduction isn't loud, it's subtle, it's patient. It's about leaving something behind, not in your words, but in your energy. When you master the art of conversation, you make people want more of you. More time, more connection, more understanding. So how do you become that kind of woman? Start with eye contact. Not just a glance, but a steady, soft gaze that says, I'm here, and I'm fully present. Looking into someone's eyes while you speak, or while they speak, creates intimacy that words alone never can. Next, allow silence to exist. Most people rush to fill the gaps, afraid of awkwardness. But a woman who can sit calmly in silence shows confidence. She's not uncomfortable with space, she owns it. Let your words land. Let the silence breathe. Another powerful shift? Speak slowly and clearly. When you don't rush, your presence feels grounded. You're not scrambling for approval. You're simply sharing, inviting, not chasing. And then there's the secret sauce. Ask interesting questions. Move beyond the surface. Instead of small talk, try, what's one decision that changed your life? Or, if fear didn't exist, what would you try? These kinds of questions don't just start conversations, they start connection. And of course, never give it all away at once. Let there be layers to you. If someone asks about your past, you don't have to unwrap everything in one night. A simple, that's a story I'll save for another time, can be far more intriguing than any full answer. Because the truth is, mystery is magnetic. And the less predictable you are, the more people want to understand you. Real attraction lives in that delicate space between familiarity and fascination. Now imagine combining all of this, intentional words, powerful pauses, soft presence, with the energy of calm femininity that doesn't chase, but attracts. That's what we'll explore next. Because if mastering conversation builds curiosity, then behavior number 4 takes that connection to a deeper, more emotional level, where desire begins before a single word is even spoken. Are you ready? Let's step into one of the most misunderstood but powerful qualities a woman can embody. There's a kind of woman who doesn't need to raise her voice to be noticed. She doesn't chase. She doesn't force. She simply is, and people feel drawn to her without even knowing why. That's the power of feminine energy. But let's be clear, feminine energy is not about being passive or submissive. It's not about pleasing everyone or shrinking yourself to fit someone else's life. On the contrary, feminine energy is about presence. It's about softness with strength, grace with depth, and a quiet confidence that draws others in without needing to demand attention. This kind of energy is magnetic. Because it doesn't try to control, it invites. It doesn't chase, it attracts. It doesn't strive to impress, it inspires curiosity. And in a world that often celebrates hustle, control, and being constantly on, a woman who embraces her feminine energy feels like a breath of fresh air. So how does this work in real life? It starts with receiving. Allow yourself to receive compliments, attention, kindness, even help, without guilt. You don't have to do everything on your own to prove your worth. A woman who can receive with grace radiates value. She shows that she believes she deserves good things, and that belief is powerfully attractive. Next, soften your presence. This doesn't mean dim your light. It means slow down, breathe deeper, and carry yourself with calm intentionality. Use your voice to soothe, not to dominate. Let your body language remain open and relaxed rather than guarded or rigid. Now here's the real secret. Feminine energy thrives in the present moment. Many women sabotage their connections by projecting into the future. They obsess over what might happen or what someone's actions might mean. But the magnetic woman, she stays grounded in the now. She enjoys the moment for what it is, without rushing it into something it's not. And that presence, combined with warmth, receptivity, and softness, makes others lean in. Because it feels safe, it feels rare, it feels unforgettable. Here's something interesting. A study from the University of California found that men rated women with slower speech, gentle facial expressions, and receptive posture as significantly more attractive, regardless of physical beauty. Why? Because those cues signal emotional safety, and emotional safety is what truly opens the door to connection. Now let's be honest. In today's fast-paced, achievement-driven world, it can feel risky to embrace softness. You may have been taught that being feminine means being weak, but in truth, feminine energy is strength in its most elegant form. Because when you know who you are, when you trust that you don't need to chase, control, or prove, you become unshakably powerful. So imagine this, pairing that magnetic softness with the ability to carry your own distinct visual signature, one that tells the world exactly who you are before you ever say a word. That's where we're going next. Because behavior number 3 is all about turning your outer image into a bold, unforgettable reflection of your inner power. And when done right, it becomes your most silent, yet most effective form of attraction. Before you ever say a word, before anyone hears your voice or learns your story, your presence speaks. And often, it speaks through your style. A woman's personal style is more than just fabric and color. It's a visual expression of who she is. And when it's intentional, when it's deeply aligned with her confidence, her energy, and her essence, it becomes one of the most captivating things about her. Contrary to what many believe, dressing well isn't about following trends. It's not about labels or the latest fast fashion. It's about knowing yourself. Knowing what feels good on your body. What reflects your story. What makes you walk a little taller. Not for others, but for yourself. Because when a woman walks into a room fully owning her look, she doesn't just get noticed. She gets remembered. So what makes a personal style powerful? It starts with authenticity. Choose pieces that highlight your natural features and reflect your personality. If you're bold, let that show in vibrant colors or daring silhouettes. If you're more reserved, lean into classic elegance, soft fabrics, clean lines, timeless accessories. Learn what cuts flatter your shape, what shades illuminate your skin, what textures make you feel alive. When you dress in alignment with your truth, you emit a confidence that no brand name could ever replicate. Color also holds tremendous influence. Red whispers passion and power. Black tells the world you are sophisticated and mysterious. White offers serenity and grace. Earth tones suggest warmth and wisdom. And deep navy says, I'm calm, capable, and in control. Let your wardrobe work for you, not just to impress others, but to remind yourself every single day, I am worth being seen. And don't forget the details. A flattering haircut that frames your face. A signature fragrance that lingers in memory. Shoes that support you but still make a statement. Even a simple gold bangle or a silky scarf can elevate your aura if it's worn with purpose. You don't need dozens of outfits. You just need the right ones. Pieces that feel like an extension of your power. Outfits that walk into the room with you, not ahead of you. Because here's the truth. The most unforgettable women don't look like anyone else. They look like themselves, completely and unapologetically. And when you pair that visual confidence with the energy of calm femininity, we explored earlier, you become someone people remember long after you've left the room. But what happens when your image is clear, your energy is magnetic, and yet you give too much too soon, too often? That's what we'll uncover next, because behavior number 2 isn't about how you look. It's about how you respond. And knowing when not to chase might just be the most powerful thing you ever learn. Let's explore it. Let's talk about something that many women struggle with, but few ever admit. The fear of pulling back. The fear that if you don't respond right away, if you don't reach out, if you don't give more, you might lose him. But here's the truth. Desire doesn't grow from closeness. It grows from space, from mystery, from the subtle tension of not knowing exactly what will happen next. You see, the women who are most deeply desired are not the ones who are constantly available. They're the ones who know their worth so well, they don't need to chase. They don't over-explain. They don't anxiously wait for someone else to validate their place. And ironically, that calm detachment, that emotional independence, is exactly what makes others come closer. Because when someone knows they don't have you, they start wanting to earn you. It's psychology. What's guaranteed loses its edge. What's a little uncertain becomes irresistible. Think about it. Have you ever noticed a man show more interest right when you became just a little less available? When you stopped texting back immediately? When you prioritized your own life? Suddenly he paid more attention, not because you played games, but because you reclaimed your value. That's not manipulation, that's magnetism. So how can you embody this in daily life? First, don't always be the first to reach out. Let him wonder what you're up to. Let him take initiative. When a man feels he must make an effort, he places higher value on the connection. Second, don't make someone else the center of your emotional world. Continue investing in your passions, your projects, your friends. When your life is full, you're not desperate, you're discerning. Third, stop overgiving. It's tempting to prove how caring and thoughtful you are by giving more, helping more, loving more. But too much too soon can feel overwhelming. Let affection grow slowly, with balance. And finally, let go of the urge to control the outcome. You don't need to know where something is going after the first date, first conversation, or even the first month. Stay in your power by staying present. If it's right, it will unfold. If it's not, your energy is too precious to waste. This is the paradox of attraction. The less you need someone to choose you, the more likely they are to try. So now we've arrived at the heart of it all. Because while independence draws interest, style builds intrigue, and softness invites connection, there's still one quality that makes all the difference. It's the first thing people notice, even before you speak. And it's the last thing they forget. In fact, it is the very foundation of everything we've talked about so far. Are you ready? Let's uncover the most powerful behavior of all. This is the one behavior that changes everything. The one quality that can't be bought, borrowed, or faked. The one energy that walks into the room before you do and lingers long after you've left. It's confidence, not arrogance, not loudness, but quiet, unwavering belief in yourself. Because before anyone notices your hair, your clothes, or your makeup, they notice your energy. And nothing is more magnetic than a woman who truly knows her worth. Confidence isn't just about loving how you look in the mirror. It's about standing tall even when no one's watching. It's the way you walk, deliberate and unhurried. The way you speak, calm and grounded. The way you show up, without apologizing for your existence. You see, true confidence doesn't need permission. It doesn't need applause. It doesn't need approval. A confident woman doesn't wait for someone to tell her she's enough. She walks as though she already knows it, because she does. And that's why others feel drawn to her. She doesn't compete. She doesn't chase. She doesn't perform. She simply is. And that certainty, that ease, that quiet power, it's unforgettable. Science backs this up too. Studies from Webster University have shown that people rate those with high self-confidence as more attractive, even when their appearance doesn't fit society's beauty standards. Why? Because confidence says, I belong here, and people instinctively gravitate toward that kind of presence. So how do you cultivate this magnetic confidence? It begins with your posture. Straighten your spine. Lift your chin. Take up space when you walk. When you move like you matter, people believe it too. Next, own your voice. Speak clearly. Pause when you need to. Don't rush your words or shrink your ideas. A confident woman knows she has nothing to prove, and it shows. Then there's self-talk. What you whisper to yourself becomes the background music of your life. Stop criticizing. Start affirming. Instead of, I'm not good enough, say, I am learning, I am growing, I am already worthy. And perhaps most importantly, stop asking for permission to shine. You don't need to dull your light to make others comfortable. Stand in your truth. Take pride in your uniqueness. Confidence doesn't come from being perfect. It comes from being real. So now, after exploring all 6 behaviors, from living independently to mastering conversation, to embracing feminine energy, style, and emotional detachment, we return to the core. Everything you radiate, every reaction you create, every connection you attract, starts with the belief you carry inside yourself. Confidence is the foundation. It's the beginning of magnetism, the fuel behind your presence, and the quiet force that makes you unforgettable. Because in the end, it's not the makeup, not the dress, not the words, it's the woman beneath it all. And when that woman walks into the room, heads turn. Now that we've uncovered all 6 behaviors, let's pause and take a breath. You've just walked through a journey that most women never even realize they need. We started with independence, the art of being whole on your own, of building a life so rich and fulfilling that love becomes a beautiful addition, not a desperate pursuit. We then explored the power of conversation, not just as a way to speak, but as a way to connect, to intrigue, and to make others feel seen without ever oversharing or over-explaining. We stepped into your feminine energy, that soft but undeniable current that allows you to attract without chasing, to receive without begging, to inspire without controlling. We talked about personal style, not as a tool for impressing others, but as a mirror of your identity, a declaration of your presence without saying a word. We unwrapped the paradox of detachment, how a woman who doesn't cling, who doesn't revolve her life around another's attention, quietly controls the interaction and sets the tone for how she is treated. And finally, we arrived at the foundation of it all. Confidence. The deepest, most unshakable kind. The kind that comes not from perfection, but from self-acceptance. From knowing who you are and standing tall in it. Here's what all of this leads to. When you embody these behaviors, when you practice them not just for others, but for yourself, you stop trying to be magnetic. You become magnetic. People feel it. Men feel it. The room shifts when you enter, not because of noise or drama or spectacle, but because your energy speaks first. And it says, I am here. I am whole. I am enough. And the truth is, this kind of transformation doesn't require changing who you are. It requires returning to who you were before the world told you to dim your light, before someone made you doubt your worth, before you were taught that love had to be earned by giving more, pleasing more, shrinking more. No, the most captivating women in the world aren't the ones who try the hardest. They're the ones who remember who they are and refuse to forget it. So here's my gentle invitation to you. Start small. Maybe it's how you speak today. Maybe it's choosing silence instead of explaining yourself. Maybe it's walking with your shoulders just a little straighter. Maybe it's texting a little less and living a little more. You don't have to master all 6 behaviors overnight, but every time you practice one, even just a little, you reclaim a piece of your power. And day by day, that power builds. It becomes your presence, your magnetism, your essence. Now, I'd love to know something from you, just between us. Which of these 6 behaviors do you feel you've already mastered? And which one do you think you're ready to grow into? Leave a comment and let me know. I read every word, and your reflections mean more than you know. And if this video spoke to you, if you felt seen, empowered, or simply reminded of your beauty, I hope you'll share it with another woman who might need to hear it too. Because the world needs more magnetic women, women who don't chase love, but attract it, women who don't beg for attention, but command it, women who don't try to be chosen because they already chose themselves. And you, my friend, are one of them.